Before, my ego was so inflated, I'm hot shit, right? And I would subtly put down other people just so that I can feel elevated and above other people. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Z, and today I would like to share a story of how I came to balance my ego. To give you guys some context and background, I grew up in a traditionally Chinese family. And for those of you that don't know, in the Chinese culture, the eldest son holds the highest status because that's the person who's gonna pass on the name and traditions of the family. And my dad was that son, and guess who was his eldest son? Me, obviously. Not only that, I'm also the only child. So that came with quite a lot of challenges, but also some perks. One of the perks was because I was the eldest son, I was always treated quite well by relatives and family, and they've always spoke to me in high regard as if like I was fucking awesome, even though I hadn't done anything. It was just the fact that I was born as the eldest son. So that gave me really high self-esteem, gave me high confidence and self-belief, which carried over and turned into cockiness, arrogance. A lot of time, my ego was incredibly inflated at a young age. And the funny thing was I was having a blast. You know, I would like pull pranks on friends, being an asshole to my friends. I will fully admit that, and thought nothing of it because I just thought like, oh, okay, if I can get away with it, why not? I was having so much fun. And then it was sometime in middle school, someone checked me. She said something along the lines of, if you keep acting like this, no one is going to be your friend. And I believed her. So I started to kind of like become more considerate as a person and tone it back a bit. And then going into high school, I went to an all boys, predominantly Caucasian high school. There was probably like a handful of Asian kids there. So I felt very out of place. I felt like I didn't belong at all. I felt like an outcast. So I kind of like shrank back and felt small. In retrospect, looking back, that was the first seedling of me becoming more of a people pleaser type of person. I still wanted to be accepted, of course. So going into college, then into the corporate world, I just wanted to be accepted and liked. So I started extreme people pleasing, especially in the corporate world. Like I never felt like I belonged. I didn't know how to act. So I kept people pleasing so that people would accept me and like me. But again, I never felt like I belonged. I never felt comfortable doing any of that stuff. And through that process and journey of contorting myself just so that I could be accepted, I started to lose myself. And I started to fall into a bit of a depression. I got quite anxious. It was so difficult for me to not think. Like I would constantly think like, oh, what do people think of me? If I say this, are they gonna think I'm weird? Just constant mental chatter. My mind was going like a million miles per second. It was insane. Thankfully, if you guys haven't seen this video, 2 years ago, I went to an ayahuasca retreat, did a bunch of inner healing, and then continued that journey for the next, it's been almost 2 years now, continued that journey of inner healing, inner work, rediscovering who I am. And through that, I have become much more comfortable in my own skin and finally found my balance for my ego. Before, my ego was so inflated, I'm hot shit, right? And I would subtly put down other people or like subconsciously put down other people just so that I can feel elevated and above other people. And whenever I felt below someone, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I just didn't like that. And then with the people pleasing, it was basically like overly considerate of other people without much regard for my own emotional well-being and my own needs. So the balance that I've come to eventually was that I remember I am awesome, but so are you. So is everybody else. Everyone is awesome. You being great doesn't diminish how great I am. Me being great doesn't diminish how great you are. We can all be great together. And the thing is, we're all great in our own ways. So that is the balance that I found when it comes to my ego. I know in the spiritual community, anybody who does this type of work, their ego tends to soften. Some people soften their ego so much that it's almost non-existent. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just personally for me, I quite like having a balanced ego, having some semblance of personality there because it's fun, right? That's what it comes down to me as the ego speaking. It's just really fun. the way I express myself, the way I get to talk to people, it kind of becomes like a fun little interaction. But I have been in states before where my ego was very soft. I've even experienced ego death before. And there's definitely something to be learned in those experiences. But I found it difficult to navigate in this world where there are so many other personalities when my ego was so soft, when my ego was borderline non existent. I was just speaking in such a way that there was no like oomph behind it, there was no character behind the words. That works for certain people for sure. I just don't feel like that was suitable for me. I quite like having this personality, this little, character. It's just fun. So yeah, that's how I came to balance my ego. So I hope you've enjoyed this story. If you like to listen to more stories like this, hit the like button, drop a comment below. Let me know. I have plenty of stories like this that I would love to share. So yeah, just let me know. Don't forget that you're awesome. Someone else being awesome doesn't diminish your light. Love you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.